The event info line is a useful tool for viewing and changing events in your project quickly and efficiently. Boot up the example project for this chapter so that we have the same project loaded. You can view the event info line by revealing it in the window layout setup. Right now, the event line says no object selected because there is no object selected. Select any event. The event info line is now filled with information. The information that is displayed depends on the type of event that is selected. You can also decide which information to view by right-clicking on the event info line and choosing from the list. We've looked at this already in the video called Customizing. Select an audio event. Let's look at the information in the event info line. First, you can change the file and description of the event. We already looked at this in the recording details video. Next, you can adjust the start, end, and length of an event or part. You can double-click on the field to change it, or you can use your mouse wheel when you hover over the numbers. Offset is when you have an event that is shorter than it really is, like this one. It's best described by holding down the Control and Alt on the PC or Command and Alt on the Mac and click-dragging with your mouse. See how the audio is moving within the event or being offset? The numbers are changing also above. Use this to shift the audio over just a bit for being a little ahead or behind the beat. You could also use it creatively by changing the start point of a loop. This is fun to do with drum parts and sequence patterns. The snap is the snap point in the audio event. Let's say you have a reverse snare or cymbal or something similar, and you want this part to snap to the beat, not the beginning. You could choose the event and move the snap point. Another way is by turning snap off and position the cursor where the point is and choose Snap Point to Cursor from the audio menu. Turn snap back on, and now you can see that this event is not snapping at the beginning anymore and is rather snapping to the point that we chose. This field shows you the point the event is snapping to. The fade in, fade out, and volume reflect the changes you make on the event, like this. Look at the number display. Don't forget you can hold down Alt and you'll see a slider appear as you change the volume. This makes it way easier. If you have a low monitor resolution or a small monitor, you may need to deselect some of the event info line options. Just so you don't change any values by mistake, make sure you right-click on the names and not near any numbers. Lock locks things into position to keep them from being changed. You can see the options in the pop-up menu. Other means fades, volume, audio editing, etc. You'll know it's locked if you see the lock icon at the top right of the audio event. It's kind of small, but you can see it there sort of grayed out. Transpose, fine-tune, follow global transpose, and root key change the pitch of the event. We'll talk more about these in the audio transpose and transpose track videos in level 3 of this series. Mute mutes the events just like the mute tool does. When we click on a MIDI part, we can see that there are fewer options but with one extra, velocity. Velocity is the change of volume for each individual note. You can raise or lower the velocity of the part without actually affecting the notes directly. This value either adds or subtracts from what the notes actually are. Now we're going to talk about markers. Markers have 3 values to change: the name of the marker, an ID number to give it so you can easily change between them, and a start time, or simply where they are in the timeline. The IDs relate to the markers section on the transport panel. So if you have a whole bunch of markers that need reordering, you can leave them where they are and just change their IDs. There are other areas where the event info line comes in handy, like when you're using automation. I'm going to quickly draw something in. When you select a piece of automation, you can see the automation type you are drawing in. You can also see the start point you are editing and the value of that point. There are a few other places, but the rest should be pretty self-explanatory, as we've covered more than 98% of all the functions already. When you select multiple objects, only the first object is shown in the info line. Now you can change all of the objects relative to their current value. When multiple parts are selected in the info line, the values will appear in yellow. This is to make sure you don't accidentally edit a bunch of things at the same time. Let's change the length. See how the 3 parts are changing relative to the values I'm putting in? Now let's click and enter a number. This time, hold down Control on the PC or Command on the Mac and press Enter. All 3 events now change to the value I entered. This is how we change them absolute or together with the same values. As a side note, if you need to name or edit a lot of information, a great time saver is to choose Auto Select Events under Cursor from the Preferences in the Editing submenu. Now multiple select a bunch of tracks. You can see when I click on the ruler, this easily selects multiple events. You can also use Control on the PC or Command on the Mac to add or remove tracks from the selection. Just remember that you need to have the track or tracks selected to make this work. Using the Event Info line can save you from going into menus and searching for the right functions. This will save you a ton of time, so get to know it.